President Trump barring Harvard University from enrolling international students. That's nearly 30% of the university's student population. A letter from the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem reads, and I quote, "This administration is holding Harvard accountable for fostering violence, anti-Semitism, and coordinating with the Chinese Communist Party on its campus. It is a privilege, not a right, for universities to enroll foreign students and benefit from their higher tuition payments to help pad their multi-billion-dollar endowments." Noem didn't stop there, going on Fox News to warn other universities across America.
Get your act together, because we are coming to make sure that these programs, that you are facilitating an environment where students can learn, where they're safe, and that they're not discriminated against based on their race or their religion.
Harvard calls the move unlawful. Out front now, Norm Eisen, former White House ethics czar, executive chief of Democracy Defenders Fund. He attended Harvard. And Norm, people may notice you're in Sterling, Virginia. You are also outside President Trump's crypto dinner. We were just talking to Senator Merkley from there a few minutes ago. So I'm going to have more on that in a moment from you. But first, let me just start with this. The bottom line, will Trump prevail and Harvard lose a third of its students?
Aaron, like every other case where Donald Trump's retaliation has been tested in court, over 150 times, courts have rejected it. The same thing will happen here. It's against the Constitution, against statutes, regulations. It's arbitrary and capricious. This isn't about supposed disputes over information with Harvard. It's revenge and retaliation, pure and simple. It will not stand legally.
What's the effect? I mean, you went to Harvard. What's the effect right now on campus? All of a sudden, boom, they say a third of your students can't be here.
Well, the effect is devastating. There's thousands of fine students and scholars who come from all over the world to be a part of the Harvard community, and they make it the unique and outstanding place that it is. So it affects the community. It has a financial effect. But Aaron, I'm most focused on the human effect on these students, about 7,000 of them whose lives have been turned upside down by this cruelty, them, their friends, the community. It's not only illegal, it's cruel and immoral.
Harvard's made concessions. Their DEI office, they call it now the Office of Community and Campus Life. They've tried to make some concessions. Is anything going to be enough?
No, when you're dealing with a bully and an autocrat, the way you protect yourself is by standing up to the bully. If you keep bowing down, kissing the ring, it's never sufficient. That never works with a blackmailer. What does work is going to court. That's what they should do here. And that's the flip side, Aaron. Yes, this is very upsetting and difficult, but it's also an opportunity for Harvard and its students to stand up for democracy.
This is going to impact a lot of students at Harvard, Jeff.
Pamela, it certainly is at the moment. Of course, this is just the latest example of the ongoing escalation between the White House, the Trump administration, and Harvard University. But this afternoon, the Trump administration, through Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, is telling Harvard that they can no longer enroll international students. The White House telling me just a few moments ago, enrolling foreign students is a privilege. It's not a right. So Kristi Noem, in her letter to Harvard, outlines what she says is an unsafe conditions on campus, promoting anti-Semitic behavior and demonstrations. Of course, this is the ongoing, the latest chapter in the ongoing fight, which has been about school funding, about curriculum. Now it's about international students. But Harvard is vowing to push back. They say that this is unlawful, and they say that they will challenge this in law. But Pamela, what we're talking about here is about 27% of the student body at Harvard are international students. That was in this academic year, some 6,700 students or so. And the government right now is saying that all of these students must either leave Harvard and transfer to another institution or lose their legal status to study here in the U.S. So we will see where this goes. This is one more example of a case that will be fought out legally here. but it's just an escalation. And Harvard, of course, has been one of the few institutions that has really fought back against the administration, against the Trump administration, largely because they can. They have the largest endowment of any university, but a dramatic escalation of this ongoing fight here that leaves many students, as they near the end of their semester here, a bit in uncertain terrain and a territory, Pamela.
They're certainly in limbo, those foreign students. Jeff Zeleny, thank you so much. Let's bring back the panel on this. And Congressman, I want to go to you because I believe you went to Harvard. Is that right?
Harvard Law School, yeah.
What's your reaction to this?
It's silly and ridiculous and illegal, I think, in a couple of ways. One is, I don't think they have the authority to do this. I don't really see what the legal hook would be. And based on what Noam just said, I don't really hear a legal basis for that. But in addition to that, this is a big existential piece from an economic standpoint for Harvard and many other institutions too. So they certainly have the incentive to fight this, you know, to the last dog is dead, so to speak. And also, you know, it's another ding on the soft power aspect. One of the really great things about Harvard having this huge, extensive international alumni network is that a lot of these people are in countries around the world, and they have relationships here in the United States. We have relationships with them, which work very well sometimes in some of these international disputes. And this is another example of the Trump administration burning that bridge needlessly.
Governor, why would the best and the brightest in other parts of the world want to come study in the U.S. if something like this could happen?
Well, one, I think they're going to continue to. We're still the beacon. We provide, regardless who the president is, we attract more legal immigrants than any other country in the world, about 1 million every year, 4 times more than the next closest country out there. So I think we'll continue to be a beacon. But let's be clear, particularly in light of what's happened here in the last 24 hours, I want Harvard and every other campus to be safe for Jewish students as well as any other students, Christian, whether the faith tradition out there. So I think it's really important to focus at Young America's Foundation. We see that with Jewish students, Christian students, conservative students overwhelmingly feel threatened on a lot of these campuses. So there needs to be a reckoning about that. That said, I think there's going to have to be some significant changes here legally. Just as we saw, I remember in the first term as a group of governors of both parties got together, we were talking to the president. At that time, he was talking about a Muslim ban on travel. That was not the case. In the end, the actual language the Department of Homeland Security talked about was targeted towards countries that under the prior administration and President Obama had been identified as not providing information. It wasn't a blanket. For example, Indonesia was free and able to bring people in, even though that's the largest Muslim population in the world. So I think you're going to see some significant changes to make this, anything close to this, enforceable.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, what they are doing is actually trying to make Harvard bend the knee. This is not about protecting Jewish students, and this is not about protecting, international students from not being safe. This is about the federal government trying to impose its will on an independent institution, which Harvard is. And it is the most prominent institution, not only in America, but in the world. And by targeting Harvard, they're sending a message to universities all across this country about what will be tolerated and what won't be in this administration.
And the dirty little secret is international students are full payers on tuition. And this is, trust me, there's a lot of DC universities here that are watching this very closely, because this is targeting Harvard financially.
Trying to starve Harvard.
Oh, and by the way, this becomes financially existential, and this ends up having a derivative impact in that the full international payers are who subsidize sometimes Americans who don't have the resources to go to Harvard that Harvard can take. So this is the balancing act that universities use, and a lot, particularly on the East Coast and on the 2 coasts, use the international students as a way to
And the federal government gives them and gives these fees.
Right.
Try to take away tax exempt
Yeah.
status.
So this is an
federal
attack
funding.
financially, it feels like, and this is, I tend to agree with where you're going here, which is they're just trying to get Harvard to have this conversation.